All right, let us get started here. Give me a moment here to check my signal on stuff that's going on, and we'll get this thing up and running here in a minute. Just give me a moment. Not automatic places, tags, save, and then we'll go to channel. And let's see if I am coming through okay with a mic check. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Through okay with a mic check. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Through okay with... Nice. Sounds like the fire's cracking nice and loud behind me. Crack-a-lackin'. Okay, so we're going to do some artwork tonight. We're going to work on an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition in Eberron called Crystals on a Bar. Here's your book cover. Cheers. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. I've been focusing attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since the release of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica back in 2018. There is a slew of links in the description down below that'll lead you to DMsGuild.com, where I publish all the IP work that I make, including the 5-color mana spell point variant rules that were inspired by Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, using the color mana system for Magic the Gathering, with mana points instead of spell slots in the 8 schools of magic to reimagine spellcasting in the MTG book settings using color mana, made famous by Magic the Gathering, the role-playing card game, where these role-playing game settings are set upon. So, okay, so let's see. That's out of the way. Let's get this out of the way. You can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney, if you're still on the X platform. Cheers. Like, subscribe, hit a bell icon to get notifications of when I'm up and running in the future. Holy crap, we've picked up more subscribers today. Thanks a lot, guys. It's honestly, it's a joy and privilege to find people that think this stuff is interesting. They like the work that we're doing. We created this book cover back around episode 40. So here's the full playlist here. You can see all the other 193 episodes before this one, including the book cover back around episode 40. Today, we are continuing with creature tokens. So if you dive here into the playlist, you're going to find probably like around episode 80 or so, a lot of... were we making tokens? No, we're only just not making tokens. Jesus, up till now we've been making maps that the tokens run around on. It's a full adventure. All the maps, tokens, assets. We'll be doing page layouts here once we finish. So we're doing a spelljammer book Monday through Friday in the morning. Artwork, layouts, maps. We'll publish that. We'll have that on DMsGuild.com down below as well. As soon as that's off our plate, then the Eberron project moves to the mornings Monday through Friday. And of course, the Spelljammer book we publish, and you can check that thing out. But once this goes back into the morning, we'll continue doing creature tokens. We'll be doing the page layouts, and then our evening here will be freed up for me to build the Spelljammer campaign I'm running for my home table. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, including tomorrow, we do design work for the Martial Power System, which is an alternate magic system for like Blade Magic or Weeboo Magic in D&D 5e for martial-type characters. That's very different from spellcasting, but uses the same resource. So if you want to use MTG color magic, or if you want to use Last Airbender for elemental magic, or if you want to stick with the 8 schools and just use universal spell points instead, then you have all the ability to do these things. So we have, we finished the black pudding. Now we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 17 other illustrations to paint. So I'm going to go to ye old random.org, where true random is sacred. We're going to put in the old checking site secure connection confirmed. We're going to do a die roll from 1 to 17. Let's let the fate... Thank you. Answer is number 13. If that's not just the most Eberron answer ever, I don't fucking know what is. Random, true randomness, my ass. So let's go fetch this. We'll roll it from the top bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're going to work on some fresh dead today. Blah. So this is a bloater. It's full of Vulpina Lotharia, which is a moss that naturally grows in the playing him a bar, it releases a stinking cloud effect to anybody that's in the space that it occupies. So if you go and hit this guy, he's freshly been killed by undead, and spores from the Letharia have gotten into his blood supply and into his wounds and has swollen it full of this this disgusting cottage cheese like moss. So if you hit this guy with any damage, he explodes and he dumps Letharia everywhere, which of course if you're in that space, it makes you make a Constitution saving throw or you throw up and lose your action while you're doing so. So it's kind of like a low-key stun shutdown effect. That spoiler alert, if your players don't know it's coming and they decide to engage these things in melee, as soon as they hit it, it turns into it takes the stats of a skeleton. It just dumps its flesh everywhere in a burst of gross. So yum. Let's start building this. I think what we want is let's go with D&D swollen corpse. And let's see what kind of a cool illustration we can find inside that mess. That's almost perfect. Nice guy. Who made this? Will O'Brien. Will O'Brien, thank you so much for creating such a great picture. I don't see color. So I'm going to copy this illustration and import it into my illustration so I have a color reference. When you don't see any color, you have to use existing content and use that as a color guide to inspire your decisions. And this is pretty inspiring. So great pose you got going on there, man. Great pose. Let's go ahead and flip this like that and there. And I mean, arguably better than the one I have. So cheers to you, buddy. But we got what we got, and we'll go ahead and run with it. So, like a kid with scissors. Drop this down to here. Here's our line art. That's good to go. We can duplicado dato. We'll take this to trash. And BW. Nice work, guy. Truly good work. I'm just going to take a random color off of this. Will O'Brien, thank you kindly for posting your stuff online for me to have a good color reference. Yeah, when you don't see color, everything that you do is in grayscale. Obviously, I only see grays. But it also makes me hypersensitive to contrast. So all the design work that I do is built around contrast. Making sure that there's good separation, that there's actual value. Shifts in value and not using the illusion of color to believe there's contrast. As I understand it, color can trick the color visioned into thinking like a blue and a green. Let's say like a purple and orange have the same value, but they're opposites on the color wheel. Somebody with color vision would see the opposition on color wheel and feel that's quote unquote contrast, but in reality, if they have the same like level of like if they're both like a 6 on a 1 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being black, 10 being white, if they were both a 6, there's actually no difference in value at all. Since I don't see any color, that never tricks me, so I'm always looking at the values, and so that I think helps make my style a little distinct, and it helps make up for the loss of the color in the first place. There's that. We're gonna need some more of this stuff in the future, so let's just go fetch it now. The crystals of my bar. The crystals of my bar. Boop boop. Crystals of my bar. Boop 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 boop. Crystals of my bar. see. It's probably in the doors and things. Doors, things, plant. Maybe not. Nope, I know I have something crawling around here that's got some cool color stuff going on with it. Now all I gotta do is go find it. Maybe it's in the intro? Oh, Appendix 1, Flora. Thank you. Flora and fauna. Stuff is fun. Let's see, let's go fetch. So, let's do... this. Oh my. Push this all the way to the top. That's a cool composition. I like that. Now we got all the stuff that we need to goop this guy up. Let's get goopy. Goopy, 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 goopy. See, it's got this glow to it. Brilliant. See, there's no... See, you can see that sharp green there, and then this this very, very gray green. They're almost the same value. See, there's very little. There's like a 1% difference here in the grayscale between these two things, even though this Litharia is far more saturated in color. That saturation isn't contrast. It's just saturation. So we're going to have to fetch something that's darker. For now, let's grab something darker. Yeah, that'll do. I'll do pig. Take all that mess there and blip, 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 blip. We'll give him some cool Litharia glowy hair. That's fantastic. We'll do like that. No nipples on the DMsGuild. Strictly forbidden. Nipple please, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's all the dichotomy that we really need. So okay, great. Let's go ahead and drop some contrast on top of this, dude. That's such a great face. So we'll lay down the color, and then we'll blend it, and then we'll fuse the line art to the color, and then we'll blend it, and then we'll move on to the next piece. Just like we did with the Warlock Blastomoth illustration from this morning's Spelljammer stream. We're doing creature tokens there today as well. But tomorrow we're going to be working on the Doom Space map, because I realized last night that I don't have a Doom Space map for the Lazaraxis conversion guide that we provide with the book, and I need to get that done. So we'll be working on that tomorrow morning, and probably on Saturday. Self-portrait. Don't mind me. I'm just we call it this one. The name of this illustration is Phil getting out of the shower. Oh, he snorted. Oh, hey, at least I cracked myself up. That's cool. See, these lines are overly heavy for the lighting that we're doing, but once we blend the line art down into the color and blend it like this, it won't matter anymore. It'll be fine. I think we can afford to blend those together. Very good. Hear that fire? Gotta love fire. Holy Hannah, that guy got lit. Found the flare I put in there. Let's see what happens, huh? Ahem. Nice. Looking good, actually. I love that moss toupee. That's so rich. I'm going to take this and put it on a separate layer so I can blur it. Duplicate the layer, and then we're going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Maybe that'll actually do what I wanted it to do. Duplicate now. We can filter and Gaussian blur. There we go. That feels better. Let's do it like that. We'll call that moss blur. Moss blur should be above the line art. So let's duplicate the layer, put it underneath the moss blur. There. Nice. See, that is accomplishing the results that I wanted. I am very pleased. So let's let's just take all this shit. Drop down that line art a little bit, blend that together. Duplicato, merge-ish, hide. So now if I cut through it, I cut through the entire thing. The line art is now fused to the color. I can come in here and I can keep sculpting. Nothing but Zook over here. Rendering details like this. It's so effortless and fun. It's just I get to turn off my brain and just let it dance. Muse gets to come out and play and go where she wants, and They don't have physical bodies. So the only way that they get to experience the joy of creating stuff is by riding a soul like this. They whisper inspiration to your heart, and in exchange, they get to feel what it's like to be the creator of that idea. So they deliver ideas from heaven for you to express on page for them. And I think that's a pretty damn good arrangement. I just like rotten flesh. I'm pretty damn good at it. Like I've got a mile, like I've got a minor in body horror. It's like you're a tattoo artist that you want the tattoo to go wrong. Like the worse it turns out, the better off you're doing. It's the kind of feeling I get when I'm doing body horror and like gore, and undead and stuff. It's like I were to completely fuck up as a tattoo artist. How would I do this? That feels so good. Hey Shiner, how you doing? You showed up and I started, so your timing's getting better, my guy. So we're just rendering details, and for those that are new to the channel, like I was saying, rendering details is brain off time for Phil. Once the line art is in and I understand basically how the composition is supposed to be for any particular piece, the less I can think, the better off it's going to end up being. Is the muse gets the pilot, she knows what's supposed to look like in the first place, so it's best off that she take over and do the painting while I just act as a vessel for her to act through. And if it looks a little pixely to you, it's because it's only a 300 by 300 pixel space. It's an inch token on a, like, 1 square equals 1 inch equals a square equals 5 feet, you know, whatever. But so I don't put a ton of detail into any of them, because for the, like, you know, if you're not on VTT, it's just going to be a black and white token like this that's easy to print. Like a little laser printer, it doesn't really cost anything in ink. It's just black lines, so it's easy to do. But the color bits also are going to only be a tiny little token on a virtual tabletop. And if you're zooming in, like this is probably as close as you're ever going to get on a virtual tabletop to looking at this token, which is good enough. So I can control the amount of work I need to put into a token being produced by being aware of how close are they actually going to get to the details inside of the token. In that manner, I can cheat detail and minimize effort and punch through one of these much more efficiently than I could, like a book cover, for instance. It's going to require a fuck ton of work over 40 hours or whatever. Public holiday. Oh yeah, buddy. Are you in the UK or cricket? Tells me it's like what, either South Africa or Britain. Burp, burp, burp. Oops, you lost your bowels. Buddy. I mean, I've heard of people's asses hanging out, but come on. Let's be a little realistic here. Australia. Right on, right on. I did not know cricket was a thing in Australia, because I'm American, and Americans are self-centered, so we don't bother learning about anywhere else. Unless it personally interests us. What a bunch of selfish Brits. I meant to say brats, but it came out Brits. I suspect you in Australia. I think that's funny. I was watching Orbital Bacon's channel. He was playing the Galaxy Rangers. And one of the races in that, it's a sci-fi show from the 80s. If you haven't seen it, it's fucking amazing. So trippy. And one of the main characters, he's an alien. The species that his species is called Kiwis, Kiwi. And there's either serious episodes where he's not present at all. And then there's just ridiculous, trippy episodes where it's not only him, but also his little nephews and nieces. So it's like a bunch of toddlers running around. They all call them Kiwis. They look like basically like anthropomorphic rabbits, but they call them Kiwis. So whenever the kids start fucking around with stuff that they're not supposed to be messing around with, we keep blaming New Zealand for fucking everything up. It's a stupid joke, but it's relevant to Australia, so I figured I'd share that. But yeah, Orbital Bacon is a great channel. He streams different 80s and 90s cartoons like after school, like at 5 o'clock when 5 o'clock here in Seattle, when like he was streaming Technoman, I think, about 5.5 hours ago. But yeah, Orbital Bacon, great channel. Saturday morning, he has recordings of Saturday morning cartoons from the 80s. He just throws it on the machine and lets it run, cartoons and everything. It's freaking great. And just as a bunch of snarky jerks like me that just hang out and crack wise like Mystery Science Theater, making fun of stuff. It has its own little in-joke culture, like people that keep showing up over and over again. After a while, you catch hold of what jokes they're making and what, like, they'll make references to other cartoons that they play there to reference other jokes. It's pretty funny. It's its own little subculture, but God, it's funny as fuck. New Zealand is like Canada to America. Not even a real country anyway. Maori seasoning instead of Lowry's. Oh, I'm gonna stop now before I get myself canceled. But if it happened, we know it was the Kiwis. One of my favorite channels is How to RPG. Fred Willard, who is he's in New Zealand, so I like to give him shit. Yeah, he runs a good show, and he's got a really fun crew of people. There. Boo-doo. Are you? Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no way those logs burned up already. Nope, they're just shifting around and catching fire from different directions. I'm going to add some texture in here just to grit this up a bit before we drop the color back in. Then we'll be able to move on to another piece here pretty soon. I have to be careful about how I depict the anatomy down here. I don't want it to get misconstrued, but I don't want to shy away from it either, you know? You can do... Zombies can do tasteful nudity. It can be done. You have to be, you know, a little aware and sensitive about what you're doing, but there's a very important rule on DMsGuild, which is no nipples. So as long as we keep away from having nipples on our undead, we can pretty much gore them up as much as we want. Oh yeah, right on. Right on. Cool. Well, thanks. Thanks to Fred. I'm glad to have you. Yeah, I wouldn't mind any of his crowd hanging out here. They're all good folk. The style of his channel is completely different from mine, so I would never create the content that he has, but all the topics of conversation that he explores are things I'm interested in. So I have to really curb myself in his chat to not just go on and on and on about whatever it is that I could go on and on and on about, whatever it is that he's going on and on about. I think it'd be fun to do a stream with him at some point, just to talk shit, maybe build a castle together or something, and I don't know, that might be fun. I want to get to a point where I've got enough momentum and channel growth that it's worth other creators' times to, you know, other creators to take like an hour or two out of a day somewhere and just hang out with me on stream and talk shit about whatever it is that they want to talk shit about while we do doodles and stuff. But I need to have a much larger channel to be worth other people's time. But hey, we picked up 2 new followers today, so that's awesome and very appreciated. Thanks, newcomers. out there. I hope you find what you're looking for here, and if you got any questions, definitely reach out and ask. Either here live and chat when I'm around, because I'm here 6 days a week. It's not like you can't catch me. Or in the comments down below after the fact, or in the description down below, there is my Discord channel and my Twitter. You are welcome. Anyone out there is welcome to drop down in there. And just, you know, whatever's on your mind, let me know. If it's something I can add any value to, I certainly will. I gotta say, though, I don't have a lot of time for doing critiques. Design critique right now, because I'm really trying to get this Eberron project out the door while still respecting the other projects that I've got going on right now, which is why I've got such a schizophrenic channel of running so many different things. Because I mean, as soon as the Spelljammer book is done, we're doing this in the mornings. So like I want to be doing this because it makes for a smooth transition into what's, oh yeah, I know what Phil's doing. I see that, you know, because I am. When the Spelljammer book publishes, then I will then be only creating supplements to the Spelljammer book of much smaller scale. Like maybe like a 25-page mecha book, and like maybe a 30-page kaiju book, and like a 5-page Nyogi encounter and stuff like that. Like different things I can do. But I don't imagine myself doing another 100-page book for Spelljammer. I just don't think it's going to be necessary at that point. But having said that, I am naturally curious about how many people are here specifically for Spelljammer stuff. That once I start doing less Spelljammer content because the main book is done, like, am I going to see attrition on my channel? And that concerns me because I barely have any momentum as it is. So, but I don't plan on abandoning Spelljammer content at all. It's like I said, there's a number of fun supplements that the book that I'm currently working on creates. Like it becomes like kaiju books become possible with the scaling mechanics I introduce, and mecha to fight them becomes incredibly easy to do and just gets integrated into the fighter craft that we build. So blah 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 blah. I'm talking shop probably because I'm excited. What's up? Please save me from myself. Oh, God damn it. There's nothing there. Trying to the rescue. The art and the rants. Right on, my guy. Well, I hopefully I won't be looping into the same rants anytime soon. That's a problem with content creators that don't produce things but only provide commentary, like best 10 magic items or whatever bullshit. Is that there's a higher chance of running out of meaningful content, and you start diving into these little things like best of lists and shit. Like you know a creator's really scraping the barrel on talking about something when they're making best of lists. Not to insult sad creators out there forced to create best of lists. I wish you the best. But I like the fact that we're creating things here, and that the creation of those things stimulate new and further conversation and helps generate rants. I mean, I only have so many experiences in life, so eventually I'm going to curve into stuff that I've talked about before, but I mean, hopefully it's not just a fast death spiral to redundant Mojo Jojo conversation points, you know? That's just... I don't want to shit on other people, and it sounds kind of like I am. But I'm not really. It's that... I think what I'm really trying to say is that I think it'd be great if people that create content created more... like folks that create YouTube content about D&D, I think it'd be great if they invested time making D&D content so that they have a better perspective about what it is they're commenting on, so they can add further depth to what their conversation points are, and start accumulating experiences of here, I'm sitting on my chair weird, of producing things that can stimulate them into new conversations like we've been able to be blessed with. So I'm way out of pocket here today. Don't mind me. There, and we are... We're doing pretty good here. The nice thing about rotten flesh is I don't have to be like really crisp and specific on the anatomy. I can let it be droopy and a little asymmetrical because of just the nature of rot in general. Very forgiving. But zombies are a great opportunity to just to play with anatomy, like just to experiment and futz around with stuff that you might not normally be able to, and feel pretty fearless about it in the process. Like I don't have any dread or concern about whether I'm screwing up his shin or not, because it's a fucking zombie. Who cares? If I don't like it, I'll just cut it off, you know? You don't have to be very specific. Yeah, it can be like those toes are incredibly vague. That's some rough hewn shit there, Kearney, but it's okay because they're, you know, he's dead, so his toes are half rotten off as it is anyway. I really started getting into undead and gore in high school, writing on my books. Like we wrap our books in paper bags and draw on those. Oh, that's some very, very old coffee. When they explain their decisions, it gives me insight. Yeah, absolutely. I love that stuff. I love it. I call them director cuts. All right, so that guy's like that, and then bloop, bloop. Toss that into the trash. Here's our moss. Doesn't that stuff look great? Let's see. I'm going to experimentally duplicate the layer and merge it down. Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about the stuff that I make. But I mean, I use all the stuff that if I publish it, it's something I actually use. So I know what it can. I know what it's like to use it. I mean, I guess you have to use my kind of a game and like be my format of a DM to really appreciate what I build. But I hope that the tools that I build help lean people in the direction of like how I think about games. I just like, people get bored of 5e, and then they're like, what other games are out there? And when I get bored of 5e, I'm like, what can I do? What can I do to 5e to change its flavor? Instead of having to learn a whole new game system, what can I cut out of or tack onto this game system that I already know and turn it on its head, you know? Like, make it something completely different. What are you doing? What are you doing, you goofball? It's got a little moss. It's a little moss diaper. Dodging that NC-17 rating like a pro, Kearney. Nice job. Is that 20 minutes already? Jeebos, man. I am falling through some crazy time tunnels today, man. Yeah, but it's hard not to get excited when you have something in your game and it works well, and then you find a way to translate it into rules that can be understood, and then start creating illustrations that like really visualize what it is you're trying to achieve. It's fun. It's really, really fun. Hard not to get excited and rant about it. Cha-da-cha-da-cha-da-cha. Almost done with this guy. We'll move on to the next one. There. That guy looks fucking dope. We're doing good over here, guys. We're doing God's work. Chom Corporation. Chom, 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 chom. Black pudding. Here's how the black pudding turned out. Pretty happy with that. Fresh Dead turned out fucking fantastic. Very content. We now have 12 critters left in the pool. I'm going to go back to the ineffable No, we got, was it 26 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Right, 16. So I'm going to go back to the infallible random.org. Yeah. It kicks off this this radiance. So so there'll be fields of this stuff. So it's you have to navigate it's okay. It's difficult terrain to avoid it under just normal overland movement. But when you get into combat, a DM can just dump a bunch of this stuff in little 5-foot spaces as like patches. The undead don't care. They don't have to they can't get poisoned, so they can just float through the stuff. Who cares? But the players then have to pay attention to where they're actually moving through during combat, because if they step through a patch of the Letharia, then they have to make a Constitution saving throw, and if they fail, they stop their movement, lose their action, and throw up for the rest of their turn. So you can just dash that stuff in there, or like you can create barricades by just building piles of the stuff. Like when we build out the dungeon map with all the little tokens, there's all these spots that you can have these clumps of Letharia to slow people's movement. You can catch them on fire and burn them away. One square takes a minute to burn away. So it's not, you can't just, it's gone and then you can run through it. It's like, it's going to tax your character movement to try to mess around with that stuff. And because it has this like little glow to it, and it's all scattered across like in fields, the whole region has this thick mist that just kind of like hangs on the ground enough to obscure movement, or to obscure vision beyond 30 feet. Like you can see clearly up to 20 feet. And no, yeah, you can see up to 30 feet outside. Okay, so there's outside and there's inside. Inside it's denser. So you can only see 20 feet and then only dimly see things 20 feet beyond that. Outside in the manifest zone, it's dark all the time and the mist is heavy. So if you have a light source, it'll let you see 30 feet, but then it becomes diffused and it's only like dim light 30 feet beyond that. So the DM doesn't have to have more than 12 squares of space surrounding the characters at any time on a kitchen table map, so it's very manageable. And you can use Fog of War and a torch in a virtual tabletop to simulate the effect. But the Letharia, since it has this low glow to it, it has like this, like in Big Trouble. If you've seen Big Trouble in Little China, when they're in the elevator, the light's coming from the floor, and they're in the hell of the upside down sitters. It's it has that same sort of like ground up underglow effect, but it diffuses in all the mist, so it has like this rave smoke machine effect throughout the entire region. And of course, the undead can see through it just fine because they're using, skeletelepathy. Thank you, to echolocate your soul through this stuff to be able to target you without being obscured by vision. They can just navigate in the dark. They don't care. What is the fuss about true randomness? Well, the fuss is that when you play Eberron and you put in a die, it comes out 13. In this case, it turned out 6. How about that? So we're going to go with the true random decision of 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Revenants! What's up, buddy? You got your foot on sideways, I see. Nice touch, pal. We got another half hour. So let's go find a Revenant. Thanks again to Will O'Brien for the color on the bloated ghoul. It's very, very coincidental that I would find that. Let's see. I want. What do I want to find? I want to find. Oh yeah, Revenant. Revenant monsters. That kind of looks pretty dope. This one also looks pretty dope. Path of the Revenant, a slightly necromantic barbarian. Well, if there's artist credits, let's credit them. Neat lighting. Minion, Lifebane Zombie. Well, Minion, this is to you, buddy. Reference. Since I don't see color, I have to grab references off the internet that I can then use the RGB function. Hey, what is it? James Lockwood? Is that who it is? I don't know. I might be making that up. I know the name. I know Lockwood's name. He did a lot of 3rd edition stuff. So also to you, sir. Thank you for color references I can trust. Let's go with, yeah. I slept. I was supposed to be working on Lazarax's stuff, but I was so sleepy. I took a nap instead. I can't hate myself for taking naps, but I hate the loss of productivity nonetheless, and I'm still tired. It's because I push myself a lot. I'll go to like 11:30 or 12 o'clock and then get up at 5:30 to stream again. Which explains why I have such variation in engagement in the mornings. It's really important for me to get good sleep. But if my day runs really long, I have to stay up late to get anything done in a day. And I'm so fucking close to having the Spelljammer book completed that I really just want to push myself. Which, if I'm not careful, will make me sick. I've done that before. So I'm playing this balancing act of getting it done, fighting burnout, and fighting physical sickness, all in the same sort of pile. I'm looking at the content in the Lazaraxis appendix, the conversion guide using our mechanics, and I'm looking at it. It's like, God, I feel like I just quit at some point. Like I skipped whole chapters. When I go back and I look at it, it's like, no, there's definitely stuff here that would benefit from a diagram or me adding some details to. And I guess just at the time I didn't want to bother. I don't know what it was, but now that I'm going back through the document, I'm looking at it, it's like, I'm going to feel bad if I don't include X, Y, or Z. And it really is like that many things. It's like multiple things. I've got like 5 pages left, and I'm like, I feel like I need to do 2 or 3 maps. And I fucking hate that because it's just slowing down production, but as soon as I publish the Spelljammer book, I need to move this Eberron project forward. It's been sitting around on my plate, being casually picked at for well over a year. I got to get this thing done. There's other things that are going to be popping up in my pipeline in 2025 that I need to clear my plate for. But so I need to have the Lazaraxis. I could hold off on it and publish it as a separate piece. But then I would be relegated to doing it like on Mondays and Thursday nights because this will move forward into the morning slot as soon as the Spelljammer book is done. So to avoid that, I need to make sure I finish the LOX section and properly clean cut from it. It has not yet happened. Let's grab some dark. Sad times. Massive first world problems, Kearney. Fortunately, I love doing that stuff. And it's just, I mean, ultimately it's just content. You know, I'm just talking shit and doing stuff. And now I have a reason to talk about Doomspace for a day or two. You know, that's okay. I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. I mean, once I actually start doing token integration and the illustration, like dropping illustrations into the LOX section, I'll have an opportunity to talk about all those different little bits and bobs, and that'll be fun to do. This feels like a butterfly in here. A butterfly of pain. Ah, well, I'd rather it take a little extra time and be angry that it's taking longer, but end up with a piece that I am 100% no regret, stand solidly behind, and be confident about that. If there is a mistake or somebody catches something that's a legitimate concern that somehow made it through playtesting, 2 rounds of edits and a rewrite, like if someone catches something, it's strong enough as a project that if someone's like, hey, I question about how X, Y, or Z works, I'll probably have an answer to it. But if I legitimately don't, then great, I can just improve it. Like, I won't have any... I only have ego attached to stuff and get offended if people call me out on shit if I secretly know somewhere inside that it could have been better. And I'm angry that they caught it, that it could have been it could have been better so easily. That I didn't fool anybody. And so I picked that trend up pretty quick in my production cycles, and pretty much resigned myself to however long it takes to do something. Even if I promise a date and I have to recant that date, it's better that I recant it than think that somebody's holding me to some sort of standard that is imagined. Because I'm the only one that's holding me to standards on this stuff. Even if I have people that are waiting for me to finish a project so I can continue working with them, and they decide to bail on me because they didn't think it was worth it, it's because fate didn't want me to have that person working with me. It's if people really want the stuff that I build, they'll recognize it's worth waiting for, and I have to believe in that. It's worth believing in. It's the only way to actually be able to take ownership and have humility about people that follow you in the first place to see what you're doing, you know? So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I have to talk myself down off of feeling like I have, to a certain extent, imposter syndrome, but it's more like, if you were a better artist, this would have already been done. Or if you made smarter business decisions, you wouldn't have gotten yourself into 60 illustrations, you know, that you have to finish before you can publish this fucking thing. Like, that's a conversation I beat myself up over a lot. But every time I fire up the computer and jump on stream like this, it's just, I just want to do my best. I like to be my best. This guy's just handing me solutions out of nowhere, ain't he? Let's I like that. Such first world problems. Hey, Cash. What you doing, my guy? Thanks. Oh. All right, so we got our line art here. I don't know if you saw the... we finished the... Hold on, let me get this guy out of the way. We finished the Black Pudding from Monday. And we just finished this one, which is a fungus-stuffed bloated zombie called the Fresh Dead. Now we're working on our revenants, which are like vengeance-driven undead. duplicate. So there's the color version, just black and white. Like here's the black and white version that is real easy for people to be able to like print on their laser printer, right? And then we'll integrate the black and white skeleton into the color. Just want to do some cleanup here real quick. I love rendering. Where do we go from here, you know? Legit question. Straight back to hell, buddy. Better enjoy this place while you got it. Seems like you're missing part of your foot there, buddy. Are you okay with that? Yeah, I think he's okay. He's smiling. That was 20 minutes again? Oh my god. I feel like I've lived 5 minutes in the past 40. That's the real secret of immortality. Forgetting how long you've been doing something. That's why birds can fly, according to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They're so stupid that they forgot they were falling. And they freak out, and then the laws of gravity don't apply to them anymore because they forgot. They forgot that gravity works. The secret to flying is selective memory. That's what they say. I'm going to, duplicate these groups. I'm going to merge this group together, so now I can cut through it in a single swath. And now I can go back and go back through and do some highlights on this. Clean up around aisle me. Hey, more text. What's up? Yeah. The thing about line art is that the width of the line creates an interior space and an exterior silhouette. And when you go about adding color and like correcting anatomy, when you create the form from the color and kind of like disintegrate the line art, you're making a decision about, am I adhering to the silhouette? Or are we going to adhere to the interior space of the line? Because the line kind of goes away. And with it, the language that goes along with it. That's my major challenge right now. My gesturing work is really... I mean, modesty aside in the conversation, my gesture and line art is really strong, but when I convert it to color, I overcorrect for accurate anatomy because I don't have that line weight and that sketchiness to create artificial grit and texture for me. That's one of the real strengths of sketch art, is that the eye fills in so many details based off of the vague, impressionistic inferences that are created by the lines that you use, or the style of texture that you gravitate towards. It creates a very distinctive signature that's very appealing, but doesn't always feel polished or finished. I mean, like, sketches by nature aren't polished, but they can feel finished. Like, that's a good looking piece. Well, if that's the case, it doesn't need to be colored to look good. But if you commit yourself to a full color project, you're going to color it regardless. And now you're risking disintegrating that illusion of quality. You have to now prove it through hard rendering. And that's where I slow down so much in my work. Like, if all I had to do was sketches for an entire book, like Index RPG or Shadow Dark or something, like if all I was doing was ink line art like this, then I would be able to crack through 60 illustrations in like probably 35, 40 days without exaggerating. But I keep hard committing. My chair is all fucked up, so I have to keep adjusting it. But when I'm doing D&D stuff on the DMsGuild, I want, like, you get free assets that are color. So I'm competing with color stock art all the time on DMsGuild. So my disposition is I can do color work, and that's what I'm competing for or competing against to get your attention. I need to be working in color, and that's, I think, ultimately restricting my production. I mean, obviously it takes a lot longer for me to finish a piece because of the amount of time I have to invest into all the artwork. But a counterpoint to that is, while I'm sitting there for like 15 hours working on art on a page, things crop up in the text that's relevant to this. Is why I love painting on the page. So I just stare at the text, and like something will go, you could say that so much more efficiently if you XYZ, or like this description, this explanation, it's clever, but it doesn't actually express what you need. So I have like this massive extended cooking time for every page that has art on it. And I have to acknowledge that there is actual real strength in having that circumstance, and I would not have that I would not have that if I were to just do sketch art on each page, because I'd blast through the pages a lot quicker. I would have to rely on me doing it right the first time and expressing stuff, and over again I demonstrate that I don't. So like, that's as much as I hate how long it takes me to do stuff like this, it's everything I've ever done this way turns out better as a result of it. Something that, like I was talking about earlier, I know I can stand behind, and that I've done the absolute best with what I've done, and I haven't rushed it. And so if there is something wrong with it, again, I can accept that it's an error and have less ego attached to it, because I really was attempting to not grab quick, turn it around for a quick profit or try to get any kind of notoriety or anything off of it. I just want to build a good thing. And that allows me to be able to accept criticism, or if there's something that I didn't catch, or that got through playtesting without anybody noticing, like, hey, this thing is pretty fucking broken. Like, well, shit. Because, I mean, that'd be really embarrassing if you don't catch it. But it's even worse if you thought that your shit didn't stink, and then you're told that you have a problem. Like, that's when you have to take all that time to get over your ego before you can realistically look at what the problem is and create a solution for it. So I bitch and lament about the process that I've been following to create these books, but they're really fucking strong books. So it's kind of hard to hate on it, like, for reals, I don't know what this guy's got going on with his skull noggin. But we be rendering. So tomorrow morning we're going to start working on the Doom Space system map for the Lazarax's conversion guide, because that's where we're at in the process. We're now dealing with LOX pages. And I've still got about 5, maybe 6 of them to finish editing or rebuilding, and working out the words, and then figuring out where the illustrations go. So I am collapsing onto my own time frames pretty fast now, but that's appropriate. That's where we should be at. Even with me being pessimistic, I think by February 13th to have that book published. It's later than I want, but I think it's a realistic number. Like, I'm running out of stuff to do. And once you've officially ran out of stuff to do, you publish. That's just how it works. And then you build something new, and you keep going. Yada, 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 yada. I love this. It looks really cool. Like, I get a vague idea of what something's going to look like, but I don't really know how the details are going to turn out until the muse lets up and hands back control to me to look. And then I was like, wow, that's really fucking cool. I love that. I love that I get to discover these things with everyone else, you know? Fire went out again. Oh, it's getting late. I don't think I need any more fire tonight. I will have time. We're going to finish up here, what, in about 10 minutes? Yeah, it feels right. And then I'm going to see if I can knock down another page of Zaraxis and then get some sleep. Be back in the morning. Be ready to work on the Doom Space map. And then, lunchtime tomorrow is going to be the last Ravnica pre-generated character I'll need for the Martial Powers Rebel Belts West March campaign playtest. So that's the last pre-gen character I need to make tomorrow, which means that Monday next week when we go back in, instead of me focusing on character mechanics and whatever it is I normally do with martial powers, instead it's me putting on my DM hat and starting to build out the hex, the Rebel Belt space that the characters will be traversing through during their encounters. So I get to start wearing my DM hat during lunchtimes. That's very exciting. I am looking forward to that. First thing that we have on plate is we're going through different enchantment effects that are Magic the Gathering cards, global enchantments that affect everybody on the board or whatever, and converting those into magical auras that are like cursing the land. The land is broken up in tiles, and when you go into a tile, there's a chance that there's an enchantment that's affecting creatures and circumstances while you're traversing that terrain. So once you discover if there's an enchantment effect and what that effect does, and is it tolerable for you to bring your caravan into that space, or if it's not and you have to bring them in, then you have to find a way to disable the enchantment. So you have these combat threats, and then there's going to be like natural hazards that are like skill tests or saving throws, and then there's these enchantment enchantment hazards, which if they're hostile to your character, they're going to be hostile to your NPC caravan that you're trying to wrangle through the area onto another save point. So you have to find the source of the enchantment and then disable it with either like an Arcana check, Thieves' Tools, or by and then you can expend mana to try to synchronize with the effect and reduce it. And like if it's like a blue-white effect, for instance, like if it's an Azorius detention cell effect that's white and blue magic, then if your character's devoted to white or blue magic and that's the mana that you expend, you can get advantage on your rolls. And when you spend mana, you can buy down the DC of the effect, so it becomes easier for you to be able to basically unravel the magic that's affecting the area. Or you may decide that you want to leave that magic active, find another route to take your caravan to safely, but leave that aura in effect, that enchantment in effect, because you know that you'll be able to use it against other creatures if you can lure them into that area to then use against them. So you can start using the Rubble Belt terrain to your advantage once you get your bearing about like how the place works, right? So I think that's a lot of fun. So yeah, on Monday next week, that's what we're going to start devoting our time to, is like getting a list, hopefully maybe a D6, hopefully a D8, ideally a D10 of different enchantments for each color. So that no matter what color terrain you're in, if I roll up an enchantment effect, I've got something cool I can do to you that just basically introduces. It's like maps from Path of Exile. You're heaping on hindrances to your progress to create better to get more experience points and better results, or like better loot drops or whatever. It's kind of that same thing. I can customize what your hex, like if you're going through a swamp hex that's devoted to black mana, then I'll have a selection of black enchantment effects. So I'll roll 2 encounter die. I'll roll 2 challenge dice for each tile of land, and it'll either be like it'll either be a creature, a hazard, or an enchantment. Those will be the 3 things that it can be. And so I want to have a stack of creatures that I can choose from by land color. And then I think that honestly the most difficult thing is going to be creating the natural hazards as exploration challenges, different from enchantments. And then the enchantments. And I'm wondering, like, I want to add dungeons that like one of the random things you can run across is a dungeon that you can then delve into, and it becomes its own micro tile inside of the larger tile. But if you don't end the dungeon, it's a monster generator. So if you bring your caravan nearby at night, you're going to have to resolve being sieged upon during your long rest, with your caravan being the target. So there's a lot of fun potential there. I just got to build it right, and that's me wearing my DM's hat. So that's what we'll be doing next week. All we got to do is finish up the Simic pre-gen character. We're going to build a Simic monk of some sort. I'm waiting for my Patreon and Discord channel to vote on which type of monk we're going to build. But it's going to be a Simic hybrid monk. And I already know it's going to have like lycanthropy and like tremor sense and glide effects, like all sorts of like body modification stuff to be able to perform different functions, like have different mobility options available to it, which will be really useful for the playtest. Anyway, hey Goblin Nerdo, I love the name, man. That's a great name. We're making a Revenant. It's undead creature for an Eberron adventure here, and what I've been ranting about is a Magic the Gathering color mana system that I'm playtesting. I'm recruiting people to playtest with me. It will I'm going to lose a day of production somewhere. I think it's either going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, or Saturdays that I'll be running like basically a 3 or 4 hour West March hex crawl through Ravnica wastelands. So using Magic the Gathering color lands as the mana source for characters to be able to generate spells to be or power and effects to be able to resolve different threats that they have. So that's what I'll be building. I'll be streaming that. Like tomorrow, I'm streaming the Simic hybrid pre-gen character using the power system that we've been developing, which is the whole point of the playtest. But then that'll be the last. Simic's the last in the alphabet. So we'll be done. We'll have 11 pre-generated characters at that point, which is plenty as replacement or handouts to people that just show up and want to throw some mana around in D&D, right? So I'll just be able to hand them off like, here's a character, but like if they come back, it's like, I want to build a custom character. Like, cool, go for it. Because we're going to start at 3rd level, and then every 3 or 4 weeks, I haven't quite decided, probably every 4 weeks, we'll gain 2 levels. So we'll test at 3, we'll test at 5, 7, and 9, and that should take us to June, at which point the new player's handbook should be out. So then we can integrate the mechanics that we built into the 5e24 mechanics, and then be able to publish that on a DMsGuild. And while that's going through that, we can start revising the 5-color mana spell point variant rule bundle that we already have, so that it is current with 2024. And I'm just about done with my time and this illustration. So tomorrow morning we'll be working on the Doomspace map for the Lies of Araxis conversion. Tomorrow lunch we'll be doing the Simic hybrid monk character, and then we'll be back on Saturday and working on whatever. Saturday morning we'll be back, and whatever asset we need to work on for the spelljammer project. We'll just work on whatever's next. There's a lot of stuff we still need to do, and February 13 is looking like a very realistic release date for us now. I was hoping the end of this month, but there's just too much stuff that still needs to be done. So I gotta defer. But that's a pretty cool skeleton. I'm pretty happy with this guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and close shop on him. Here's the black and white version. Here's your color. Good times. And so we'll stitch him shut here and here. I stream 6 days a week. I put a pre-recorded something every Sunday. I do design Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at lunchtime in Pacific time, Seattle. So that's 4, 5, 6. I stream 12 times a week, and I put out one prefabricated video on Sundays. So I got a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of books down below for anyone that's out there that's checking this out in the future. Hey, I got a lot of books down below that you can check out on the DMsGuild if you're interested in checking this stuff out. Here's the full playlist to the whole 193 episodes. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications of when I'm on during the week, which is like all the fucking time. Here's my Discord community where you can sign up for the playtesting if you're interested in martial powers or you just want to bullshit with me. Stay current. You can follow my updates and posting when I'm live on Twitter. If you can't afford a book, but you still want to support me, you can tip me on Patreon for $1. I currently have a vote for paying subscribers to decide what type of a monk we're going to build for Simic on Friday. So there's still time for that. Point Warlocks, it's almost gold medal. It's a pay what you want. It's almost a gold status. That's fucking crazy. Pacts and Patrons is a bunch of Warlock options using the 10 Guilds of Ravnica as the otherworldly patrons. Theurgy ability check casting allows you to spend downtime and ability checks and gold instead of spell slots to cast spells, which has an extensive mishap table that NPCs can use the same as players. So if you ever need a demon to appear in a town, you can just decide that some kid was on a vengeance message on a vengeance mission, got his hands on a demon summoning circle, fucked up the ritual. Of course he fucked up the ritual. They're designed to be fucked up. And then bam, demon. And now your team has a random encounter of fucking around with a demon for that episode. Anyway, and I'm fully colorblind. So if you want to find out what monochromatism is, you can look at that link there. But basically it means I'm locked in on grayscale. So if I want to paint something with color, I have to go find a reference that will explain to me what that color setup should actually be. So, but that's fun. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. It's 9:30 here in Seattle, so it's time for me to kick. I'll be back in about 9 hours to work on Doom Space in Eberron, and then I'll be back in about 16 hours for the Simic hybrid build. Yeah, there you go. So thanks a lot, guys. I'm typically here around like 2 hours ago, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago is typically when I start on Mondays and Thursday nights like this. Yep. A lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff on the plate for between now and the Kickstarters that we're going to start doing in like probably late 2025 for the command system, the Armies, Guilds, and Kingdoms book for generic 5e. I think once I get all these things off of my plate, I should have enough momentum to be able to run a successful Kickstarter project. So that's, and then we'll just do all this again, except that people that show up will probably be Kickstarter people, you know? That makes sense. Let's see, there's my Fresh Dead. Sorry, I'm doing some just random cooldown stuff. Black Pudding, Fresh Dead, Revenant, and keep junks. There we go. So we'll have 15 things left to do. Apparently I can get through 2 or 3 of them in a 2-hour session. That's great. That's faster than it was 6 months ago. 6 months ago it took me about 4 hours to render stuff like this. Now it only takes like 2 hours. That's fucking good gains, man. I have leveled up. I have definitely leveled up this year. That's exciting. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks a lot. I will see you on the other side. I had no idea. Hey, yeah, right on, man. Cheers. Yeah, you can't tell until you know, right? But I figured it out. So I'll talk about that more next time. But yeah, see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot for being here. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Laters.